Welcome to True Leadership, and I'm your host, Maureen Mudeo. So, in this episode, I want us to talk about leadership in the Bible. So, foundations of leadership. Where did leadership come from? How does leadership look like from the perspective of the Bible? So, in the beginning, when God created man, He said, "Let us make man according to Genesis 1:26. Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, birds of the air, over the cattle, over the earth, over all creeping things." So the first thing that we need to highlight is the fact that God said, "Let us make man in our image." And having an image of something guarantees you success, success or it's access of things. So if you're in the image of your Father, who God created us in His image, meaning that there's an access of Him that you can use in ourselves. So there's part of Him that allows us access on this earth because you are His image. For example, the fact that I'm my father's daughter, my own father. When I go to a certain properties that he owns and I begin to ask them about, let's say for example, rent, like, oh, you guys haven't paid rent for a certain time, and these people are going to answer me and give me the answers that I require concerning that particular thing, because they see that I am the image. I have been sent by my Father, and so I have authority because I am my Father's daughter, right? I know you get that. So because you are God's children, we have authority by just being God's children. And so He Himself also, on top of that, He said that we have created man to actually have authority over the fish of the sea, birds of the air. So you have authority over everything that is created. The original plan of God in the beginning was that He had created Adam, put him in the garden to be able to take care of the things that God had created. So there's the owner of the earth, who was God. And then Adam was supposed to be a tender of the things that God had created. He was just overlooking what his father had created. He was a son. So he was just watching over his father's property and ensuring that it's coming into its full potential over the things that his father had created. So when we're looking at leadership, number one, God had given us as human beings leadership over the earth. So we can begin to expect that when you call forth the earth, we are able to command it to actually do certain things. We have been given dominion over the earth, right? Yeah. And so He blessed them and told them to fill the earth and subdue it. Again, dominion, that you've been given authority and dominion over the earth. So you're above the earth. Animals are beneath you. Anything else on the earth is beneath you. Even the angels are beneath you, because you are in His likeness, that you were created in His likeness. And so when you begin to talk about leadership and governance, I know people think about only appointed leadership, and there are two kinds of leadership. There is personal leadership or personal governorship. People would call self-discipline. So we have personal leadership and then appointed leadership. Now, this is the leadership that happens in institutions. So if you're appointed to be a leader and an overseer of companies, that is institutional leadership or appointed leadership. But one of the things that I realized on this journey when I was looking at leadership and governance is that the very things or the very values that you have in your own personal leadership is going to affect the leadership style that you're going to have in your appointed leadership. The things that you hold true in terms of leadership from your own personal lifestyle are going to be things that you're going to pass on in your appointed leadership. So it is very important to actually talk about your own personal leadership before we can begin to talk about appointed leadership. When it comes to personal leadership and governance, we have things that are going to affect your life and contribute to how you see yourself, that are the guiding compasses that you're going to use. So what are your values? Your values, the values that you hold true are very important, because the things that you believe are the very things that you're going to begin to explore in your style of leadership if you're appointed into an office. So, example, in Israel, we saw that when the kings came into play after David had died and the nation of Israel was split into two, we see that the leaders who came into play, whatever they carried, if they did not honor God, they would bring and have intermarriages with other people around Israel. And the idols that were being worshipped outside with these other tribes were the idols that were brought into Israel. So there was an influence. And so leadership, number one, is a gateway. If you're a leader, you're a gateway, you're a passage. A nation can thrive through you, and a nation can fall under you. Let me say that again. A nation can thrive through you, and a nation can fall under your leadership. You're a passage. You're a gateway into this country. So in Israel, we see that if the leader honored God, we see that the nation thrived. And if the leader did not honor God, we see that there was difficulty and hardship. If the leader worshipped other gods, we see that those gods are brought into the nation of Israel. The people under them began to serve the other gods other than the God of Abraham that they had been told to serve. So there was a gateway passage with the leadership. You are a gate as a leader. So everything about you and everything that you hold close is going to be passed down to the people that are under you. If you do not value family, the people under you are going to suffer if they value family. Because to you, in your mind, it's not going to be something important. But if the people under you, their families may even begin to stop thriving. If you value honesty, you are going to be able to create systems and structures to be able to support what you value. But if you do not value that, then the people under you, it won't matter. So what you value, if you value spirituality and value spirituality from a point of view of God, if you honor God, people under you are going to thrive. So that's number one that I thought that was very important. Number two is that how you're brought up affects your leadership style. It affects how you do your life. It affects how you see life. It affects your worldview. So how are you brought up? Do you still carry traumas and wounds from your childhood? If you do, they're still going to reflect in how you treat people, in how you treat people around you, in how you treat yourself. If you haven't taken time to actually heal from the traumas that you have experienced, then your cup will be empty because you're a broken vessel that cannot pour into other people. And so your cup is going to be empty and you're not going to be able to pour into other people. I hope you see that. There are people who are always bleeding on other people and you're wondering why, but it's because they're hurt and you don't know how to be able to help them. But because they're hurt, they bleed on the people under them. Number 3, I think this is actually important, and that human beings are naturally wicked. And in Psalms 51 verse 5, it talks about, from my mother's womb I have been evil ever since. That as human beings we are prone to wickedness, and the only thing that is able to counteract our wickedness is submitting ourselves unto the Lordship of Christ. According to Jeremiah 17, the King James Version, it says that the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? In Genesis chapter 38 verse 7, we see that God searched the heart of Judah's son and he saw it to be wicked, and God decided to kill him. I think that was mercy. That God saw that his heart was wicked and decided to kill him. So you can imagine the kind of state of heart that man had. And God was like, no, this one, let's just put him down, because the wickedness that he carried inside of him. So he must have searched his heart. And we see that the Bible talks about continuously searching our hearts, because our hearts are deceitful. Memory is stored in our hearts. Our hearts have a state of nature where we are able to store memory. Yeah? And so even in leadership, if a person who is wicked enters into a place of leadership, we see that wickedness thrives in that place. There's a thing about wickedness being in a place, is that we see that when sin enters into a place, because wickedness definitely comes with sin, is that the place becomes dry. the land, we see that every time that Israel went into a place where they would sin against God, their lands became dry, barrenness entered into the place. So you could be under a certain leadership and you're wondering, why aren't we doing as good as we used to do before? And then you search the conditions of the heart of this man, or by the Holy Spirit, if the Holy Spirit is able to reveal and is able to tell you that it is because of maybe a certain leader that wickedness is thriving in your institution, and you see the institution beginning to dry off. The good things that were happening there no longer happen. So you see that the place becomes dry and dead. And it won't take a long time, you see that the place actually dies. Either the institution is closed, the institution is under debt, the institution cannot fund itself because wickedness went ahead. Where there is sin, barrenness and death comes in. So I just thought that I would drop this few comments, and I hope that you're able to self-reflect and begin to see how we're able to convert ourselves into good stewards. The way you steward yourself, that's self-governance, self-discipline. What the things that you hold close are going to affect your leadership style. And so who are you? I believe leadership, if you want to be appointed as a leader, or if you want to be a leader in a nation, I feel like there has to be a lot of self-check. Who are you? What do you believe in? You will show us what you believe in, and it will come out into your leadership style. If you believe that truth is supposed to be truth, even in the place of opposition and you're faced with a lot of things, you will see that you're able to stand because you believe in certain things. You'll stand. Actually, and I want to say that if you believe in God, that will hold you true moral compass. You'll not be shaken and tossed to and fro by people because you understand what governs you. You understand the values that you hold, right? That's today's episode. Feel free to share these episodes with your friends, sisters, anyone who's a leader. And I would like us to actually have more and more conversations concerning leadership. I feel like it's important for us to actually begin to have these conversations because we want to see a different kind of Africa. And I do believe that these are small steps into the right direction because we are always complaining about the leadership that we have in Africa. And I think this is a solution for how we elect and how we view things. So when you begin to work on yourself, I believe that you will even begin to have a different state of mind concerning the leaders that you're choosing. It will not be about choosing the lesser evil, but it will be about choosing one that fits the module that serves the purposes of the Lord, or one that fits the module of good sustenance in a nation. Yeah. So share the episodes with your friends, and very soon we will be on Spotify and any other place where you listen to your podcast or music. But so far, so good. And thank you so much. So you have a good day.